Good afternoon. Welcome to episode 12 of the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Wright, coming to you from this beautiful and lovely Tuesday afternoon from the lovely confines of Atlantic City, New Jersey. And wherever you may be listening or watching, I thank you. As always, like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. And today, this episode, episode 12, I wanted to get into the Eagles draft picks. I kind of touched up on all the different teams and different players and different aspects of the draft and just variations in my opinion on a lot of different topics. And, time to talk about the Bird Gang. I was very much enthralled and happy with the Eagles draft picks. Nonetheless, this was it was rare. This was like the first draft, kind of like maybe 2 years ago, a year prior, where there was the first draft as an Eagles fan where I felt like, damn, I like most of the picks. It's been a long time since I felt like that, where it's like, past couple drafts, now it's coming to my recollection, there were some guys, obviously Jordan Davis, Devontae Smith, Jalen Carter. There were some guys you thought of, some guys in the later rounds that you wind up getting, linemen especially that wind up kicking up for you. But this was the first draft in a while, before games have even been played, before I even knew all of who they were going to attempt to grab, just from the research. Once the finished product was done, I must say I was very, very much happy with what they did. I don't really have too much of an argument with many of the draft picks, excluding one, but I'll dive into that in a second. Let's round out the list of their draft picks from the 2024 NFL Draft. First round pick was cornerback from Toledo, Quinyon Mitchell, stud corner. Second pick was Cooper DeJean, a.k.a. DeJean. DeJean, you already know that boy cut mustard. But he was the second pick in the draft for the Eagles. The third pick was edge rusher out of Houston Christian University, Jalix Hunt, who I would say definitely was probably the experiment or the reach there in that third round. I'll talk about that and get into that in a little bit. The fourth round pick was Will Shipley, running back out of Clemson. Fifth round pick was Anaya Smith, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. Now, the Eagles had 3 fifth-round picks, so the other 2 fifth-round picks were Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and Trevor Keegan, offensive guard from Michigan. Sixth round, and they had 2 selections. In the sixth round, they capitalized and picked up Johnny Wilson from Florida State and Dylan McMahon, the swing guard tackle hybrid from NC State. Basically, like I said, out of all those picks, I won't lie to you, the ones that I know are probably going to play right away would be probably Mitchell, DeJean, Shipley, and Smith. They're probably the ones that's going to probably start right away. But outside of that, it's up in the air. Maybe Trotter and maybe Keegan due to just rotation and things like that, but I don't know. And then just off the top of my head, I think those are probably the top 4 you'll probably see on the field when the games start, mattering. Having said that, looking at Quinyon Mitchell, he looks like a future CB1. I mean, he definitely fits the bill of what you want your top corner to look like. When Slade leaves, and he could be a possible Bradbury replacement, we don't know. We'll see. I mean, Bradbury could wind up doing well. He could. I think it definitely could have been the defense that Sean Desai was running that definitely didn't fit to his skill set. With Vic Fangio there, we'll see how Bradbury plays, because if he doesn't play well, this kid will definitely be coming for a spot. Great cover skills. He had 45 pass deflections, which were amazing, in the few years he was there at Toledo. 6 interceptions and 123 tackles. Just like I said, QB1. This is the guy that you definitely will want to, be manning the back of your defense, and I'm glad he's here, and I'm ecstatic with the pick. Going further with DeJean, he looks like either possibly the new nickel or a strong safety. I'd probably say nickel corner to be exact, being that, one of the scouts, one of the major things they talked about was his hips being tight, and that might be something that limits him as far as making moves or doing the things necessary to be where he needs to be. Having said all that, though, he definitely is going to get some opportunities in the kick and punt return game. I think without a question, you're going to have to use him there. I think he's going to be tremendous in that spot. I think he can help you in a bunch of different ways. So, great pick again. Just looking at his stats, though, I mean, he had a great career at Iowa. 120 total tackles, so 3 less than Quinyon Mitchell at Toledo. He had 1 more interception than Quinyon Mitchell. And ironically, for Cooper DeJean, three of his out of all his 7 interceptions, three of his interceptions were pick sixes. So I think that's very interesting too. He has that playmaker ability in him, and 13 pass deflections, which again, remarkable. So I like that pick as well. Here's where things got interesting for me as an Eagles fan, and I'm hoping that this kid winds up working out. It's just that in the draft, it was the only pick where I kind of felt like, where the fuck did this come from? Where's this guy coming from? Jalen Hunt, who had been on several teams' draft boards. Daniel Jeremiah talked about him at length on NFL Network. Some of the gurus at Pro Football Focus have brought him up. I will be honest with you. I watch a shitload of football. I make sure that I'm watching a lot of, I watch MAC conference games, guys. Like, I watch a ton of football, a ton of sports. I had never heard of this kid. Never heard of him. He projects to be a developmental player. He originally went to Cornell for 3 years. He played safety there. He played there, like I said, he attended Cornell for 3 years prior to attending Houston Christian University. He played 17 games while at Cornell, only started 1. Interesting enough, though, while he was there, 29 tackles, 1 block punt, 1 fumble recovery, 1 pass breakup. And that's coming from a guy who wasn't even in the rotation like that. He was playing, but he wasn't starting. And while at Houston Christian University, Hunt started all 11 games in his first season and was named the second-team All-Southland Conference Player of the Year. And he led the SLC in tackles for a loss, which were 11.5. And, I mean, just think about this. 11.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. You had 7 sacks. You were second in your league, in your conference in sacks. And he was seventh in their whole division, 9th in their conference, 87 tackles alone. The guy made plays. As I said, 11.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 7 sacks within the league, 9th in tackles in the conference. He seemed like he was a baller. He seemed like he was active. He was always running the ball. He definitely has to work on his lower body anchor. He even mentioned that during the broadcast, talking to the Eagles talking to reporters on Eagles.com shortly after he was drafted. He's going to have to work on his lower body frame. That's definitely something he's going to address because, that bull rush that he uses, it works. It'll work against some inferior offensive linemen, but in the NFL, that shit won't go anywhere. So I'm very interested to see how this works out for us. I thought that was definitely a reach there at the for the third pick. Having said that, the next pick was Will Shipley. He had 1,000-yard season in 3 years at Clemson, which I guess with all the weapons they have and the way they utilize their talent, it's not shocking, but kind of points to, damn, he can really run the ball, and also, damn, he really wasn't getting the ball like that. He didn't maximize, maybe injuries, but he just didn't maximize the opportunities as much to only have 1,000-yard season. He averaged 5.2 yards per carry for his career, 31 touchdowns. He's had, as a receiving back, he's caught 85 balls in his career as a receiving back, 2 receiving touchdowns, and he's a phenomenal in the return game. So I expect Will Shipley to be one of those guys that's probably going to get burned and be playing early on. Just being honest with you. Looking at how this team is, I'm looking at how Michael Clay, special teams coordinator for the Eagles, is. He leaves no stone unturned. Howie does a great job. The scouts do a great job of finding these guys. And I just feel like Will Shipley's a guy that he's made for special teams. Even if he doesn't crack the offense right away, he's made for special teams. Having said that, somebody else I think that's going to be a threat on special teams as well, and possibly starting, depending on how things shake up. Anaya Smith, wide receiver from Texas A&M. Dual threat, multi-purpose. And what do I mean? I mean, guys, obviously he played wide receiver at Texas A&M, but a lot of you may not know, he also played running back as well, which I thought, it spoke to his tenacity, it spoke to his game. He's more of a throwback, a nod to a throwback. You've heard me use this in reference to Deebo Samuel. Football player. Guys, you can hand the ball off, runs hard between the tackles, won't mind getting hit, put his head down, bust his ass, work hard, all the necessary things to have a great football player and have a great attribute from a great player on a team. It's something you want to exude and have all guys follow. Having said that, like I said, gadget player, can be used in the punt return game. As I stated, he could be vying for that third receiver spot. I don't know. I mean, I don't think the Eagles are dumb at grabbing any other free agents. They just grabbed Mekhi Becton, as a backup tackle. So I don't think that they're done making any moves. They're probably going to make real cheap, inexpensive moves now. They're probably done with the major spending, but Be it as it may, it's going to be interesting. Next pick was Jeremiah Trotter Jr. This one is real simple. The bloodlines run deep with this pick. Best case scenario, he's our new starting middle linebacker. Worst case scenario, he's a backup. He's very small. He's not as big as I thought he would have been, but still serviceable. 192 tackles in his college career, which is fucking amazing. 29 and a half of them were for a loss. So he chased guys down. He knows how to get in the backfield. That's a good thing. 13 sacks for his collegiate career, which is awesome. 4 interceptions, 2 of them were pick sixes, which again, you need that playmaking ability coming from the linebacker position, especially in this defense. And he had 3 forced fumbles as well to end his college career. And I always like to throw this out there, and I want you guys to, just to let you know how hard-nosed of a tackler he is. Leave you with this stat. Fun fact, out of his 192 tackles, 113 of them were solo. So he didn't need help when he was tackling. He did a lot of tackling by himself, and that's going to be crucial in the NFC and especially in the NFL, making that transition with his game. It's going to be crucial that he can be able to make big tackles by himself because sometimes you're not going to have the help. And, so good pick. Like I said, a little smaller than what I thought, but I like to pick up. Trevor Keegan. Anybody who watched anything on Trevor Keegan leading into the draft knows he's a mauler. He's a run grader. He's definitely proficient in pass protection, but he's a very good, solid offensive lineman. You can never go wrong with a guy like that in your rotation. And fellow Bird fans, homeboy said he was a fucking Eagles fan his whole life. You know what I mean? I don't know how true it is, but I will tell y'all, watching the press conference on PhiladelphiaEagles.com when he was drafted, he did have a Deshaun Jackson jersey on, and he said apparently he had it when he was in elementary school. He said it fits a little snug now, so he's wearing it. I can tell y'all now, I can't fit a damn thing from elementary school, so I just let you know how massive he was as a kid. But I like this pick a lot. He looks like an Eagle. He even spoke to, playing and being able to participate in the tush push. Just having guys like that. Jeff Stoutland just brings it out of guys. And I don't know how much longer Jeff Stoutland wants to coach or how much longer he's going to do this, but I pray that he continues and is there as long as we can possibly get as much out of him as we can because guys want to play for him. Guys are eager. And I just, like I said, very, very thrilled with this pick. This is probably my low-key favorite pick out of all of them. Looking forward to, you had Johnny Wilson, 6'6", big body wide receiver from Florida State. Strong hands, effective in the red zone, and is also a willing run blocker. That cannot go unnoticed in this day and age, especially wide receivers of that size and frame. Guys expect to get the ball a lot. He's not quick. He's not overly fast. He doesn't create that much separation. However, he will shit on you. So I thought this was a great move. Some a little news and notes I wanted to touch on because I had some people that I came across say, Johnny Wilson, he wasn't all that good. Let me show you how Johnny Wilson was really that good. Okay. We're going to go all the way back 2021 with Arizona State. It just seemed like looking back at it, and I went extensively over his numbers while he was there. It just seemed like he wasn't getting looks or the opportunities that he was trying to vie for. He started 2 of 5 games, and then he got injured. So, be that as it may. And while there, he had 18 receptions for 243 yards. Things weren't working out, so he made the transfer to Florida State University. Now, here's where things get interesting. While at Florida State University, stats show he then went on in 2 years to catch 102 balls, 1,514 receiving yards. So this clearly just shows you consistency and faith in his game is what's going to be required for him to flourish, but he's got to stay healthy and he's got to get better with his footwork and his handwork if he's going to survive and thrive in the NFL. And like I said, he's definitely a big body frame, big body target. I think he'll definitely do well, but he seems like a guy that's going to probably do well in camp. Don't think he cracks the starting roster right away. It's a lot that still has to be worked on for him to really excel, but he's got the tools. He's got a lot of the physical tools. Rounding out the list was Dylan McMahon. I'm pretty sure you guys have read or you will be reading soon, hearing about it. A lot of reporters are making jokes, cracking, saying, hey, there was another guy, that played just like you that was drafted in the 6th round. They're all alluding to Jason Kelce, obviously. Dylan McMahon, Jason Kelsey opened the door for guys like Dylan McMahon to make it to the NFL. This is why this is possible. This is why this is happening. So all credit to, Dylan McMahon for making it. Shout out to Jason Kelsey as always, like I said, best center in Philadelphia Eagles history. But this guy played more than just center. He was a Swiss Army knife. I mean, he played right guard, he played left guard, he played center. He was honorable mention for all ACC. This just seems like a Jeff Stoutland special. Just seems like a guy that's definitely, on the cusp and ready. I really feel like there's a lot of excitement around this team, especially with the draft picks. I really feel like Vic Fangio got a lot of guys that he could work with, and he's going to be, willing to get the most out of. I'm interested to see how he uses Jalix Hunt, if at all, in the rotation. Does Avonte Maddox hold off Deshaun and Isaiah Rodgers? Because hell, we kind of forget Isaiah Rodgers is now reinstated. Former player from the Colts, was able to get to the Eagles last August, even during his suspension. The Eagles have brought him on. It's going to be interesting to see if Avonte Maddox can hold these two guys off, because I think they're going to be vying for that spot. Does Jeremiah Trotter Jr. crack the rotation? You've heard me mention his stats. He definitely has the stats and the resume of a linebacker that you would want. However, he's small, so that remains to be an issue. How will Kellen Moore use Anaya Smith? I think Anaya Smith has a lot of key traits and capabilities that could help open up this offense even further. So it'd be interesting to see how that works. The question of will Keegan jump Tyler Steen for the right guard spot, I think that's going to possibly be a camp battle. I think Tyler Steen has the leg up just because he was in for a year, but could be a position where the guy might be playing out of position, playing a position that's not natural to him, that's not fluid to him. So we'll see. But it'd be very interesting to watch that throughout camp. As I stated, I think Shipley will make the special teams rotation. I think he'll get playing time. Will he crack the running back rotation? Because we know Saquon's going to be getting a lot of touches. We know Kenny Gainwell's going to be spelling them. Very interesting to see how and if that works out. Can Dylan McMahon pick up Jeff Stoutland's system? You just heard me briefly allude to that he's played multiple different positions, which is something Jeff Stoutland looks for in his offensive linemen. So very interesting to see how quickly he picks up the offense. Really, in essence, how all these offensive linemen pick up the offense. Because I feel like with Jeff Stoutland, if you could pick up the terminology real quick and the schemes and where you're supposed to be at, you'll be playing and it'll show. So very excited, guys. As I stated, Johnny Wilson definitely needs some work. He's definitely going to work on his footwork and his hands over the summer. He has a chance. Could be a dark horse for that third receiver spot, but I don't think he makes it out at camp with any type of starting designation. I think he's just going to be a rotational piece. I'm very much excited about this team. I'm very much excited about the moves that they made. I think this team is very much priming themselves up for another potential run. And before I wrap this up, just some other news and notes. Something that really hit my ears and shocked the hell out of me 2 days ago when I read it. Former wide receiver John Ross of Bengals fame. He was drafted in 2017 draft, bust that just didn't really wind up working out. Guy that could run fast. Scored several touchdowns, but never really wound up being the game breaker they thought he was going to be. He will be participating with the Eagles in their rookie minicamp. So guy is trying to get back in the league, trying to earn a roster spot. The Eagles are definitely going to give him a shot and see if he's worth it. Be interested to see how that works out. So keep your ears and eyes out for John Ross, former Bengals wide receiver. Looking at the undrafted free agents that the Eagles brought in, they brought in Kendall Milton, running back from Georgia, which I thought was a great pickup. Gave him the most money out of all their pickups. They brought in tight end McAllen Castles from Tennessee. Safety Andre Sam from LSU. Defensive tackle Gabe Hall, who was very, very good at Baylor. They brought him in as well. And linebacker Jacob Roberts as well. Now, interesting note that I took from this. I noticed that typically Howie usually does a lot of big pickups around this time. This is when he's picking up a lot of guys off that undrafted free agent waiver wire. But there were only 58 underclassmen in this year's draft, which caused the Eagles to look at the draft very differently, kind of gave them a different perspective. Basically saying in English, the talent pool wasn't going to be as filled or full as it typically was or is at this time of year. So less picks, less acquisitions in that department. And, Howie just leaving no stone unturned. leaving no stone unturned. And after the way last year ended, the debacle and the way how that team played down the stretch, there was no way in hell they were going to keep things the same. And I said to everybody, when the Eagles are pissed off, they spend money. This ain't your daddy's Eagles. When they're ready and they're trying to make that run, they will do what is necessary and what is required. So just rounding out some of the undrafted free agents that came in, that will be in the rookie minicamp invites. Howard offensive tackle Aneem Dankwa, Marshall wide receiver Talik Keaton, and to round up the list, Maryland right tackle Gottlieb Ayadizi. I'll go over real quick the rookie minicamp invites. Mercer cornerback Tavion McCarthy, Ferris State corner Sean Stevens, Tulsa safety Kenyon Williams, Ohio State wide receiver Praise Alatoke. Keep an eye on that guy, see how he works out. It might be a camp body that eventually works out down the line. And round this out, Clemson cornerback Sheridan Jones. And that'd be it, guys, for episode 12. Like I said, that'd be a roundup of the Eagles draft recap. I thank you guys so much, as always, for listening and watching. And for you fellow Eagles fans out there, fly Eagles fly. Great draft. It's going to be a hell of a season. A lot of shit talking out there. A lot of people not really hoping for us to really reach our potential and our peak. But I definitely feel like this year is going to be one of them years where they could do it. It's just going to take hard work, dedication, and just stacking days at this point. But nonetheless, fellow Eagles brethren, I love you guys. Fellow Blunt Talk Sports podcast brethren, I love you. Take care, enjoy your day, and be safe.